Hey there, welcome to another episode of New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year, where a couple of years ago, Robin and I did an epic adventure around New Zealand doing 365 days of 365 activities. And here's another day from that epic year. In today's episode, we are doing the Routeburn Track on a guided day walk experience. That's pretty awesome. And at the end of the video, we're going to be going through some of the comments and questions you guys had the first time around when we published this video. So enjoy.
This morning we are waking up and having breakfast at Nomad's Queenstown. This is gonna be our base for our time here in the adventure capital of New Zealand. And we picked Nomad Queenstown because it's located right in the city center, which is making it super easy for us to go to all the awesome activities that we have planned. And on top of it, it's the only purposely built hostel in the area, making it perfect for any backpackers. And this is where we get picked up right in front of the door by the team from Guided Walks New Zealand, which are going to be taking us to explore the Routeburn Track today. This is one of the jewels of New Zealand and part of the 9 great walks that the country features.
We are meeting our guides today, Hugh and ML, who are taking us down the glorious Glenorchy Road between Queenstown and Glenorchy, which has been formed by glaciers over the years.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
The road passed through really famous watering location, and the drive itself takes us from Queenstown to the beginning of the Routeburn Track in only about an hour and a half. Usually the Routeburn Track is a multi-day hike, but because we challenged ourselves to do 365 activities in only 365 days, we're doing only a one-day section of it. Right out of the gate, Hugh is showcasing the incredible amount of knowledge that he has about the area. And one of his tricks to attract wildlife is amazing. He's using a little piece of foam and rub it against its watch, which mimics perfectly the noise of the fantail and really often attracts them because they're curious of one another. But since the fantails are a little bit shy today, Hugh is taking the time to show us a lot of stuff about all the plants in the area. But there is not just the fantail bird around, there is also heaps of other type of bird, and we actually get to meet one of the local residents.
Then right in front of us we see the South Island robin, which is really keen to check us out as well. It's really incredible how New Zealand birds are just really not afraid of humans, which gives us an epic chance to see them close up. The bird is super inquisitive and it even comes right up to our feet. But this is not the only bird we are on the lookout for today. ML is super keen to find a fantail today so she can tell us the Maori legends surrounding it. We have done a lot of amazing forest walks in New Zealand before just by ourselves, but walking with a guide is really making us appreciate the environment around us. Usually we just walk blindly through the forest, not knowing what the different plants are and what their uses are for them, but now we are learning so much that we're going to keep with us for the rest of this trip every time we're walking in a forest in New Zealand. For instance, Hugh is showing us plants that the Maori used to use to make rope because they're that strong, as well as showing us some really strange plants that apparently if you rub them they smell like farts. Also, we see hound's tongue, which actually is named because it does look like a hound's tongue.
The track is taking us all along the Routeburn River. We sometimes get some higher part where we get a really cool view of the river below, and sometimes we are getting really low to the ground where we actually almost get to do some river crossing. It's really cool. There is obviously quite a few swing bridges along the way, as well as any New Zealand walk should feature at least 3 swing bridges. It seems to be the kind of rule here in New Zealand. The walk through this 130 million years old forest is absolutely astonishing. Aside from the path that we are walking on and a few string bridges, there is absolutely no sign of civilization. It really feels like we are walking back through time. This forest is absolutely untouched. But you and ML are capable of finding constant reminder of the human impact on our environment. And they find us a lot of signs of rats and possum, which are now pests in the area and are endangering the local birds. And it's after about a 2-hour walk that we are finally reaching our halfway point where we're going to be stopping for lunch.
So we are sitting in front of an incredible $1 million view eating our $5 lunch. Well, I'm sure it wasn't exactly $5. It is a very good sandwich lunch of brie, chicken, cranberry and cookies included with this tour. And we are sitting in Hugh's secret spot for our lunch. In front of us we have these uninterrupted views of this gorgeous river valley with tussock plains. In the distance there's towering forested mountains peaked with snow. It's really hard to get us away from these views to make our way back along the Routeburn Track, but we do get there eventually.
We can really tell why this area of New Zealand has been given UNESCO World Protection. This means that this area is even more protected than a normal national park. The Mount Aspiring area and the Fiordland National Park, which are both coming together in this area, are forming one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. The towering mountain gives this absolutely epic scale to the area, and the thick rainforest put it back into perspective with a lot of teeny tiny details around the walk. It's absolutely mesmerizing. As mentioned previously, the Routeburn Track is part of the New Zealand Great Walks. It is a 32-kilometer walk that usually takes people 2 to 4 days to tackle.
Along the way, Hugh and ML are showing us some of the interesting geological features that have been left from the glaciers that once carved this area long ago. But we do start to get sidetracked somewhat by the native wildlife. Hugh has spotted for us a few riflemen, which are these tiny little native birds that look like little ping pong balls bouncing around in the trees. They are so cute. The riflemen are a bit more elusive than regular New Zealand birds though, so they do fly themselves away once they see us, and then we get back on our own way, crossing some awesome swing bridges, making our way through this dense forest, and then we meet another bird. We've just spotted another South Island robin that's come to say hello. It's bouncing about on the floor, but this does mean unfortunately we haven't seen any fantails. Nevertheless, ML does tell us the legend of the fantail, which is really cool. I really enjoy listening to the Maori legends.
But before long we get sidetracked again. We are crossing the Routeburn River and we're gonna be standing on top of one of the biggest rocks that we can find. It is probably the best picture opportunity we're going to be getting today because we're going to be standing right in the middle of the Routeburn River Valley. How epic is that? But the sidetrack didn't take too long. We are making our way back in no time toward the official track, which is very well signposted. What would you do for a good Instagram post, eh?
As we're speeding up on the way to the end of the track, it's actually really impressive that ML and Hugh still have so much to tell us, despite us coming on the same route on the way here. For instance, ML is now telling us about the old Maori greenstone trails that used to pass through this area. When the Maori were searching for greenstone, they used this track here as a passage between greenstone areas on the west coast and then towards the middle of the South Island.
ML also spot one of the unusual plants of the area. It's the Houndstone Plant, which basically looks and feels like a houndstone. And this leads us to the end of the track. As we're crossing the swing bridge that we actually used to enter the track, we are leaving the Fiordland National Park with stories and pictures all in our head. We really enjoy our time there and it's such a paradise looking place that we can't wait to visit again soon.
Guards are gathering us lunch right now. They found a plant which is questionable and they say the Frenchie is gonna eat it. So that's probably our last video.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Now let's have a look at some of the questions and comments that you guys had the first time around when we published this video. So we had a comment from Scotia's Place saying, so nice to know that you can hike parts of the Great Walks. With only a few weeks in New Zealand, it just won't be an option for us to do the whole Great Walk. But one day we'll be back. yeah, so that's the thing. The Great Walks in New Zealand are all multi-day hikes, or at least in one example, there's a multi-day canoeing trip. But you don't have to do the entire multi-day hike to actually enjoy and experience a Great Walk. Just as you've seen from the Routeburn experience, we did the 1 day back and forth trip. You can do that on all the other Great Walks. Basically, the Tongariro crossing is actually part of a Great Walk, which is the Tongariro circuit. You can also do, instead of doing the 4 to 5 days of the Abel Tasman Coast Track, you can actually just do a couple of days of the Great Walk and take a shuttle back, water shuttle, yes. You can take a water shuttle back to where you started. So there are lots of options to make Great Walks not as lengthy as the full entire experience. Okay, we got another question from Married with Backpack saying, awesome, and they do a timestamp of 1 minute 57, Lord of the Rings. Well, yes, we do quickly mention that we travel through some Lord of the Rings scenery, but we don't really dwell on which Lord of the Rings scenery we go through. But what we are driving through on our way between Queenstown and the Routeburn Track is the Lord of the Rings scenery, which featured as Isengard in I think it was the second Lord of the Rings film and the third one. And yeah, you can. It's just outside Glenorchy in a place called Paradise. Like actually the area, and it has like a town sign for it. It's called Paradise, and this sort of vast green field surrounded by mountains were used to depict Isengard in the Lord of the Rings. So yeah, we drive past that, and our guides let us know that that was the case, and we were like, oh yeah, I can see it now. So that's pretty cool. And finally, we have a question from Amy saying, such a shame to just do a third of the hike. The second day is the most spectacular, and you didn't get to see the key summit near the end of the track at the divide in Fiordland near Milford Sound. What a shame. So yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, we didn't do the full Routeburn Track on this occasion. We have done the full multi-day hike on other occasions though, which is really, really well worth it. But the Routeburn Track is actually one of the best Great Walks to do if you just want to do a portion of it. So yeah, for instance, you saw the side near Queenstown, which we did the Routeburn Track, but if you want to just take a quick look at the key summit when you're driving to Milford Sound, you can actually access that part of the Great Walk on the Milford Sound Road and get a really awesome hike to the key summit and back, which takes between 2 to 3 hours return walk, so that's definitely worth doing. And of course, depending on your fitness, you might be able to do more of the Routeburn Track in 1 day and return. But since we were on a guided experience and we're with people that have different fitness abilities and stuff, the guided experiences make sure that they just do a portion of the Routeburn Track, which is easiest and most accessible for people to walk, no matter their sort of hiking abilities. So yeah, Routeburn Track is amazing. I do hope you enjoyed this video and all the information and tips along with it. If you do want more information and tips, we have nzpocketguide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. And yeah, loads more tips that you can go and check out on there, so make sure to check it out. Alright, we'll see you on the next episode.